If you're here to find out which version of the Mercedes W12 F1 car is the best, I'll save you some time. iRacing, hands down. But if you want to know why I think this, hang around and I'll try and explain. Now, I know how these things go. People are going to question my driving ability, style, how I do everything, and they're going to fanboy to a certain extent. But I'm comfortable knowing this, making this kind of video. But I want to be really clear. iRacing and Formula 1 2021 aren't trying to do the same thing, and what they both do serves a purpose, and to be fair, they're both superb at what they're trying to do. I'm also going to make some assumptions on data and things which I'm more than happy to be corrected on. I can't know everything. It would be really easy to simply say, well, F1 is simcade at best, but I don't really like to take this stance. As much as PC sim racers ignore it, we're very much the minority when compared to the numbers on consoles. The Formula 1 series from Codemasters isn't trying to be iRacing or Automobilista 2 or any other sim you might want to mention. It seems simcade because it is, and that's what it wants and tries to be. For a lot of people, this is exactly what they want, and it satisfies that need. As a Formula 1 fan, I'm glad of this, as it only serves to make the sport even more popular. Though, this is what's interesting. The Codemasters version of the W12 is harder to drive, though hard doesn't necessarily mean more accurate. From day one with Formula 1 2021, I've said it lacks grip, both at the front end, which delivers chronic understeer when compared to more sim counterparts, but also at the rear in traction areas, with the rears spinning up unless you exercise quite substantial discipline. This is also backed up by both Lando Norris and George Russell, who say using one click of traction control is more realistic within Formula 1 2021. I had wondered whether the understeer was intentional, as understeer is inherently safer than oversteer, but that doesn't really tally with its lack of grip at the rear on throttle. I feel that Codemasters took a backward step with F1 2021 in this regard. 2020 felt better to me. I think the Formula 1 series do an absolutely fantastic job of approximating the Formula 1 experience and what it feels like to drive a Grand Prix. With a tyre drop-off, relative performance of compounds, it's immersive if you open yourself to it. Where iRacing sets itself apart is that there are many small things which add up to a huge difference. I would go so far as to say the W12 on iRacing is game-changing, a triumph. For Formula-type vehicle fans, it's exactly what we want and enjoy. The different tyre compounds really seem to have an effect, and I personally love how iRacing looks and sounds too, but of course that can be quite subjective. The iRacing version doesn't suffer from the chronic understeer found on the Codemasters version either. It seemed odd to me that coming out of slow corners on iRacing I was being extra tentative because of my vast experience on the F1 titles. You may not know, but for years people jokingly referred to iRacing as ice racing, yet it has substantially more grip than F1 2021. Though to be fair, the ice racing moniker no longer suits, is fair, or is accurate for iRacing. It's really quite good now. The iRacing version has beautiful poise and balance. When pushing, rotating about its centre in such a wonderfully controlled way. This is a feeling I never recall having on Formula 1, and it's really hard to try and explain. It's in the detail too. Instead of just having an overtake button, the iRacing version comes with 5 modes: no deploy, quali, attack, balanced and build, and you're allowed to switch 4 times between these per lap, bringing in some genuine tactics. So this is me making an assumption about the F1 games from Codemasters. They are given model data which they use to make honestly really good looking cars, but then I feel they have one driving model which is then adjusted per car rather than bespoke per car. I feel this because if you do a My Team or a driver career, the cars are simply worse in every way on almost a sliding scale rather than maybe having their own quirks. It's also well documented that iRacing have worked really closely with Mercedes F1 to create this car, and really it shows. So in conclusion, lots of things add up to make the iRacing experience far more superior. But isn't that expected? F1 is marketed and deployed as a catch-all experience that I honestly think does a great job for what it's trying to be. iRacing, its experience, its competition, its detail, it's just way beyond that of the Formula 1 titles. It's not even close. Though I'd love to have your input and your thoughts down in the comments, guys. Thank you, as ever, for watching.